It's the beginning of the end for the jungle. Refugees and migrants queue to leave the camp, taking with them their few possessions and a mix of relief, hope and shattered dreams.
Now I think that I will start a new life, because in the jungle there is no life. It's not life.
We wasn't happy because we got no bright future. We know this very well.
They destroy everything tomorrow. They will destroy everything tomorrow. What will we do after tomorrow?
The jungle has been home to more than 7,000 refugees. They're now being dispersed among processing centres across France, where they'll be given the chance to apply for asylum or face deportation. These tents and ramshackle huts make up the so-called Calais jungle that thousands of people have been calling home, but no more. Over the next couple of days, authorities will tear all these structures down. Most people are resigned to the fact they have to leave, but some have told us they'll be trying to make their way back here within weeks. So far, the evacuation has been peaceful, despite scenes of violence on Sunday evening. Police fired tear gas and clashes broke out the night before the eviction began. Many here are still holding on to the dream of going to the UK. It's estimated around 2,000 people will refuse to leave the camp, and there's concern the situation could turn violent. 1,200 police are on site, ready to respond.
What worries us all is the presence of activists who are out to convince the more rebellious migrants to stay in the jungle and join the movement and protest by committing acts of violence.
France and the UK have made it clear even if they don't leave quietly, these migrants will be leaving.
Calais has no future. It's better for the migrants not to stay in the mud and begin the official asylum-seeking process so they can integrate into French life.
Neither government is prepared to allow people to continue to live in those conditions. We will continue to support the French government in the operation and will continue with our progress in bringing those children with a right to come to the UK as quickly and as safely as possible.
Around 1,300 unaccompanied children are in the camp. The UK has agreed to take all those with family ties there and says it may look at accepting even more. As the dismantling of this sprawling shantytown begins, some of its residents are preparing to dig their heels in. But for others, it's a time to rejoice and look ahead to a new life after the jungle. Sarah Morris, The Newsmakers, Calais.
Well, joining me now from Calais is Francois Guénoc. He is from the local aid group Auberge des Migrants, which has been working with residents of the jungle camp. Francois, thanks so much for joining us. First, give us your perspective on what's happening in Calais today. Is closing the camp in the interest of its residents?
You know, for the moment, the situation is quiet because so many people wanted to leave this bad place to go to the CAO, Centre d'accueil et d'orientation. People who have begun to ask to apply for asylum or to want to do. But now, and probably tomorrow, in the camp, people staying there are generally people who don't want to go to the CAO because they are afraid. For example, they are afraid to be evicted to Italy or Greece if they have their fingerprints in this country, and people who go on to try to cross the channel.
But is it better for them, the option of going into these official camps in France, because unlike the jungle in Calais, they will now be under international supervision. They're no longer in an illegal squatter camp where they fall outside the supervision of the United Nations, for example. Isn't that a better option for them?
Yes, but you know, these camps don't exist in France. You know, in France, you had so many people on this jungle, on this camp, because the people who want to go to Great Britain were there, but also people who cannot find any place in France just to rest and just to have a tent or one meal a day. And you have also many people staying there because it's the only place where people are allowed to go to the CAO. So about people who don't want to leave this camp, or at the end they will be pushed off by the police. Probably they are going to try to hide here or to go, for example, to Paris and come back, and their situation will be better than their actual situation.
Let me ask you, Francois, for those who are not fleeing war and for those whose lives were not in danger in their home countries, is being deported back to their home countries actually a bad option at this point?
You know, in this camp, about 90% of people come from countries in war like Syria, or dictators like Eritrea, or war also from Sudan and so on. And probably they can apply for asylum and be protected by France. Only 10 to 15% here are here for economic reasons. These people probably try to go to Great Britain because it's easier for them to live in Great Britain. They speak English, they can find a job, and they have family and friends in Great Britain. But if they don't succeed to cross the Channel, yes, probably they could be arrested and evicted to their country. I can add that the French government proposed a plane ticket and some money to get back to their country, but few people want to get back to their country because of war, because of dictator.
Now, we heard from the officer in that report that we just saw, the police officer, that some of the residents in the jungle camp are actually being encouraged by activists, some with various NGOs, to commit acts of violence against police in order to remain in Calais. Is that the case? Have you seen that as well?
Yes, you know, since 2 weeks, 1 week, so new people arrive here in the jungle, European people. Probably they are activists. They are not 200 like the government say 200. We think there are maybe 30 or 40 people. We don't know if they are far left people or far right people. Probably there are also far right people. For the moment, the only action is to try to block the journalists when they want to do that job on the camp, and they try to incite the migrants to do the same thing. But for the moment, there is no violence. But we don't know if in next days violence is not going to occur. We don't know for the moment the aim of their presence here.
Francois, then, do you think the French government is doing its best to manage this situation? Or if you had control, would you manage this process completely differently? No. You know, the CAO, the Center to Welcome People, are a good thing for people wanting to stay in France. For other people, this is not a solution, and we have a problem mainly about people underage, unaccompanied minors. You know, you have said that Great Britain is okay to take these people, to take more maybe than young people having a family in Great Britain, but for the largest part of these young people, the French government has no solution for the moment. For the moment, they are sheltered in the CAP, in the containers, but we think that the government has not real project for them. That's the main problem today, probably. Okay, Francois Guénoc, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on the Newsmakers.